What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode 11 of The Rise of a Nation, here with FC Edmonton in the Canadian Premier League. Hopefully you guys are doing good. If you missed yesterday's episode, for whatever reason, do make sure to go check it out. It was the final game of the spring split, and it did go all the way down to the wire. I don't want to say what happened. You can go check it out if you didn't see it. And well, today, as you can see on screen up here, it's an exciting time. It is our first ever time in the North American League. We had an opportunity to qualify for this competition last year, and we came short. Today, we aim to, well, win our first games in it. We've got Club Francais from Martinique to take on. I'm going to be honest, I've never heard of this club before. My logo pack that has hundreds and thousands of logos doesn't have a logo for them. So we are very much in uncharted territory here. Of course, the North American League, just as a quick refresher, it is the smaller of the two continental competitions in North America, and the top 6 teams in this competition qualify for the North American Champions League, which starts in about 6 months' time, in game time in January. So we need to reach the semi-final, or if we were to lose in the quarter-final, we'd get drawn against one of the other 3 teams who lost in a playoff game, and if we were to win that, we'd get a spot. So we're thinking a little bit far ahead here, because today we take our first baby steps, but I feel like this is winnable. We've got, as I said, Club Francais. If we can win this, we are going to be playing Toro. And, well, from there, you can see the rest of the bracket as it lays out. There is some pretty formidable opposition here. I feel like we've not got the most difficult of draws to begin with, but there is going to be no easy matches here. Of course, since you were last here, you can see it's been, well, not that long, about half a week since we actually officially left. Of course, we ended the season with 2 wins, which was fantastic, although it wasn't quite enough. Today we're going to do both games in the North American League preliminaries. As you can see, we've also got Toronto coming up in the Canadian Championship in the quarterfinals. So there's some big games on the horizon over the course of the next few episodes. Before we get into the North American League games today, it'd be nice just to have a quick look at the under-21s, because I feel like we're fairly familiar with our starting 11 here. You know, there's lots of names, and I feel like most of you guys are familiar with most of them, but I feel like within the under-21s, there's players here who deserve a bit of a shout-out who don't really get them. Of course, there's the likes of Deshays, who we've talked about a lot, very hotly tipped, probably should be playing more in the first team than I'm currently playing him. I think he will get an opportunity as fixture congestion piles up. Of course, there's also Kazunori Kurata, the Japanese youngster who is looking absolutely superb. He's broken into the under-20s team. You can see here just how good he looks. Great finishing, great determination. He's a player who I've got some high hopes for. But besides those 2 guys, players we've talked about before, there are other players here who, well, they deserve a little bit of a spotlight shone on them. So let's go through them all, shall we? So we've got Wim, or Vim. He is a Dutch and Canadian player who's currently on loan at Valor. You can see in 9 appearances for them, he has scored 5 goals. Not too bad of a return until you realise that 4 of them have come in the Alberta Major Soccer League. Nevertheless, 6 appearances he's made in the league for them in their opening 10 games of the year. And that's only ever going to help his development. He's a player who I'm very excited about. The fact he's part Canadian is exciting too. We signed him last year from the TSS Academy. You can see for our under-21s, he got 9 goals in 15 games, a good little average rating. So keen to see him continue to develop. We have got John Goldhar as well, who is a young centre-back prospect, another member of the Canadian under-20 setup. We do have a fair few players within the Canadian youth teams. This guy, not the best headerer of the ball, but besides that, he looks like a very, very solid centre-back. It's a shame he's inconsistent, but at 16, lots of room to shine. The next player we have, Gaffer. We've talked about this guy a lot. He's on loan at Pacific FC for the 2nd year in a row. I'm going to be honest, he's not lit the world alight, has he, with his average ratings and performances so far? But again, it's regular first-team football in our current division, which is only ever going to be a beneficial thing. We then get to Simwinger. You might remember this guy from a couple of episodes ago. We signed him from the Calgary Foothills Academy after playing them in a pre-season friendly. He's 15 years old, very, very exciting player. Currently actually in the first team as part of a mentoring group. Have high hopes for him. We then have Hanson Hicks, a product of the FC Edmonton Academy. He looks very, very solid indeed. Inconsistent is a little bit of a shame, but everything else about him screams quality. So hopefully he can up his determination a little bit. but a player who, like many players here, definitely has a shot at making it into the first team. We then come to a few more Canadians. We've got Rene Gamache. Probably not how you say his name, but I'm going to go Gamache. It sounds good. He joined us on a free last year from Winnipeg's youth team. You can see he didn't have the craziest goal-scoring return. This year, he's already matched his goal-scoring return. He's looking very, very good for us, the attacking midfielder. A player who has kind of popped up occasionally in my backroom advice, telling me that I should play him more in the first team, but I feel like his development is best served in the under-21s, at least for now. We then have Terence DeLuca, very, very talented right winger, this guy, extremely athletic. You'll notice that going through this team, we've got so many players with high potential. I know that we've been signing a lot of non-Canadians for the first team over the last kind of couple of years, but make no mistake, there is a generation kind of bubbling away in the under-21s, which I'm hoping is going to explode over the next couple of years and really become the core of our team. Alson Leon here, you can see, played a number of times at under-20s level for Colombia. He is partially Canadian, and he's a left winger. So between Leon and DeLucas, we've got kind of two ready-made players to play on either flank. We then have Liam Can, who has frequently appeared for the under-20s in goal. He's very, very exciting. I really like the look of this guy. If we look at his training, we just got him trained as a goalkeeper, nothing too crazy, but he's been performing very well. You know what, let's just praise him while we're here. He's loving it. I'm loving it too, Liam. And, well, let's just go through a couple more real quick. We've got Issy Daigle here, who is another young prospect of our academy. Very excited player. We brought him in, unfortunately, out of a long-term injury at the moment. Ongaro is a player who plays for Edmonton in real life. He was a very late addition to their real team. He's never really made a splash for us. He's wanting to leave the club. He's probably going to leave us at the end of the year on a free transfer, but I feel like that's a good synopsis for him. We, of course, have Prince Amanda, a player who frequently appeared in the squad last year. Just with the overall progress we've made on the pitch and a bit more strength and depth that we've acquired, not felt a need to promote him to the first team, but make no mistake, if we do need an attacker, and maybe we do get a few injuries, he is waiting in the wings and raring to go. And then below them, you can see we have plenty of players who are members of the first team, who have been relegated down. AJ Cabra, a player who I've not really talked about this year at all. You might have noticed he kind of vanished from the squad. Unfortunately, he's just not very good in FM. You kind of look at him and actually look at his crossing, his first touch, his passing, his technique, his pace. It's pretty good, but he's just so limited. And as a winger, he's okay, but he's just not a very complete footballer. And with the passing system we play, he just doesn't quite work out for us. He's on a lot of money as well. His contract's up at the end of the year. He's a player who will probably let go, similar to the likes of Ongaro. Another player who will probably leave at the end of his contract is Son, who is currently on loan at York 9. You can see he's not really been making much of a splash there. And equally, Duke as well, a player on loan at Pacific, where they're paying all of his loans. He has made one appearance for them in the last 2 years. Again, not much point in renewing his loan. He's on a lot of money a week as well. So, yeah, he's another player who will probably leave at the end of his contract. You can see, going further down the team, we do have plenty of other players. Players like Velado Sagai, who looks absolutely superb. Still got hopes that he can continue to improve. Players like Gianni Ferri as well, a good little striker. Made a fair few appearances on off the bench for our under-21s. The truth be told, our under-21s is perhaps a little bit bloated. I would like to get the squad size down a little bit. But that's something that I think will slowly happen over time as we kind of, work out exactly what we've got here. The under-21s was always going to be a bit big. It's a little bit bigger than I would like to admit right now. Maybe I'm compensating for something else. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, it's bloated, but there are definitely players in here who are ready and very, very close, I feel like, to being ready for the first team, which is always exciting. Anyway, I've rambled on for long enough about the under-21s, but I feel like it's always worth just giving you guys, a look behind the curtain, because they kind of get forgotten about a little bit. Let's get into our first ever Continental match. Now, unfortunately for us, Edwini Bonsu is out injured, so we've got to change things up. And the change we're going to make is we're going to bring in Alan Zebi in at right midfield. Decided to go with him ahead of a few of the other options we've got, including Caden Chung, who would probably be naturally the second choice right midfielder in this situation. And the reason I've gone with that is just because Zebi here is a lot better in an attacking sense, and I do want to really go for the throat of Club Francisain today. The rest of the team, though, it's kind of fairly standard. I have made a somewhat conscious effort here to include as many players from the Edmonton team that we started with as possible. So you'll notice that really only Telfer and Marshall, players who weren't here when we first came to the club. Of course, on the bench, we've got options. We've got the likes of Shandal Senior, Caden Chung, Osorio, Lamotte, Saint Duck. He's waiting. He's not quite 100% match sharp, so I decided to go with Sakaria and Amiobi for today's game, but he's waiting in the wings. And one notable addition on the bench, we've got Nick Daly here. Of course, may have been the player who cost us so far this year, but he's back playing for us now. We're going to see what he can do today. I've still not really decided what I want to do with him in terms of, do I want to keep him in the team and play him when I can, or do we maybe look to load him out to a team that isn't a rival like Halifax, because I feel like we've learnt from our mistake there. Anyway, I told the players let's give a performance that our fans are hoping for. They've absolutely hated that, so that's good. Let's try and play the Uno reverse card. We've almost pulled it off. Only one player recovered there. Okay, Telfer is the only player looking stressed. Everyone else loves me. It's a big game in our club history here. It's our first time playing in a CONCACAF competition, if I'm not mistaken. We are taking on, well, I want to say the Mighty. I don't know if the Mighty is the correct word, but we are taking on Club Francisain. That's the name I'm committing to. I'm a little bit concerned that with the thumbnail, I'm going to want to have their badge. And if my logo pack that has hundreds of thousands of badges doesn't have it, we might be struggling. We looked at their team previously. You might remember Abul was the standout player when we looked through their team at the end of last episode to kind of get an idea of this opposition we were going to be taking on. We definitely go into this game, at least in my opinion, as favourites, and I do expect us to win here. Away goals, I believe, do play a factor, so we really want to go for them from the off. And well, Zebi here with a chance to show us what he can do. Whips it in low, cleared away as far as Marcelin. Telfer, have a go, my son. He hits it. Lovely save. Rebound is there for Bruno Zebi. And he writes his name down in, well, Edmonton folklore as the first player ever to score in a continental competition for the club. The ball cleared away initially, Marcelin to Telfer, who had a thunderous effort. The keeper got a very strong hand to it, but it fell kindly to Zebi, who tucks it away to put us a goal ahead here in this preliminary round. Of course, this is the early round. This is the round before the real thing begins. We want to be winning this convincingly, really. Proving that we are worthy of taking a spot and representing Canada on the continental stage and, well, representing the Canadian Premier League. Telfer down one wing, switches it to Zebi. He already has one goal. He has 2 goals. Suddenly, playing him ahead of Caden Chung in the absence of Edwini Bontu looks like a stroke of genius. And I'm going to pat myself on the back and say that I'm a very smart person. It's his first 2 goals of the season. Lovely finish this one into the top corner. We've got to... I mean, I don't think the keeper can take any blame there. It's a crazy finish. Telfer with another assist. Did he assist the first? He did. We've gone from one wing to the other twice. It's lovely stuff. I was hoping for a super quick hat-trick. Unfortunately, with it now being 12 minutes since Zebi's first, or rather, yeah, I guess his first goal technically, but also his second goal now, the quick hat-trick can't happen. He could still get it in one half. Is it bad that I'm anticipating it? I'm keeping an eye out for him on the far side, as will Telfer. Marshall, what can the number 98 do? Goes to Lincourt Joseph. Plays it back across to Marcelin. Patient build-up play here. The goal scorer. I mean, he's caused them all kinds of problems so far. He goes back to Temguia this time. And we look to build from the back again. It's what we like to do, passing it out, trying to make something work. This patient play, and well, Marshall here to bring it forward. Threads through Sakaria. Tight angle. Good save by Sivo in goal for them. Got a very, very strong hand to it. Can Zebi turn provider? He crosses it to the edge of the box to Marcelin. He has a reputation for long shots. Can he score this one? He decides to go for some kind of weird pass. No one quite on the same wavelength as him there. He saw something that no one else did, apparently. Ball whipped in. Free header. Falls to Marshall. I mean, we'll take that. It's 3-0. I don't want to say it's job done, but I feel like this is job done now. We've been all over them like a nasty rash. It's Alex Marshall's 4th goal of the season, and he should be delighted with it. The ball headed away initially, but caught on the volley very sweetly. Always a risk with those ones that they just get hammered over the crossbar with too much power, but Marshall showed a degree of control and restraint in the effort just to guide it into the bottom corner. Telfer's been booked. Right, Telfer, just calm down a little bit, mate. You've got 2 assists. I'd rather you not get sent off here. Now, Sarkaria and Amiobi haven't been playing crazily well. So with that in mind, I want to try something. And the thing I want to try is I want to bring on the Duck and I want to bring in Daly. And I want to play them up top together because I feel like these two could be a partnership down the line. We could have Duck playing as the advance forward without having the craziest finishing in the world. And then Daly alongside him. He looks like he could really become a top quality pressing forward. So, yeah, we're going to go with a double change here. It's his first ever game, I think, Nick Daly, officially for FC Edmonton since he's joined us. So, exciting times for him. Of course, he can't be registered for the league just yet. The registration window doesn't open for about another week, even though the transfer window's opened. I've still got to solve that dilemma, but he's got a chance to prove himself here for us that he's worthy of maybe taking a spot of another player. I'm looking at the likes of Diallo as a player who might have to make way. Still not really made a decision there. If the right loan offer came in, maybe we'd loan him out. Really, I think some of it comes down to how he performs here. And well, the penalty's been given. Oh, I didn't want it to go to Moses. I wanted it to go to Zebi. I wanted him to get the hat-trick. It's a disaster. Moses steps up to make it 4. I mean, that's why he's on penalties for us. It's not a bad goal by Kareem Moses, to be fair. He's just absolutely... I'm trying to think of a suitable for work adjective, but he's just thrashed it into the top corner. The keeper even goes the right way and gets half a hand to it, but in danger of breaking his fingers, I think, if he had got a more meaningful touch on it. 4-0 up. Cruise control now. Would love to keep the clean sheet. That would be a nice little bonus to end today's game. I mean... They are on the attack here, although what a tackle that is. Now can Marshall create something from deep? What can he do? He threads it through to the Duck. Now it's with Telfo. Crosses in. Daly's there. Oh, he had a chance. He had his opportunity there and he's headed it over. I'm going to demand more from the players. We've got a few strikers looking complacent. I don't want that. I want you to step it up a bit, boys. Eugen. I mean, Zebi's just... He's having the game of his life. He's got 2 goals. He's put in some crazy tackles. He's put in another one there to unleash this counter-attack. Men surging forward left and right. Telfer now with it. Beats his man. Gives it to Marshall, who it gets cleared away from. That can't be the chance. There's got to be more here. Marcelin, obviously, as that ball-winning midfielder, does like to drop into this pocket of space and, you know, try to spread the play from deep. The number 14, you can see, give and go he does with Marshall. He does get dispossessed here. But the press is all over them. We want to rush them around at the back. We want that 5th. We want to be ruthless. I feel like it's a thing in Football Manager that the AI players like to just stop caring quite so much once they get a few goals ahead. I don't like that. And well, neither does the Duck, apparently. He gets his 3rd goal of the season. The highest earner at the club for a reason. Joined us for a club record fee. And, well, another new addition to the team this year, threaded through the ball. What a ball that was by Marshall. The weighted pass was superb. And after that initial kind of couple of months that we've been waiting for the Duck to get fit and ready to leave the nest and go to the pond, he's now swimming amongst the swans. I don't know what that means, but it sounded good, didn't it? It's 5-0. We're all over them here. I'm going to take off Telfer just because he's on a booking and he's also, like, looking a little worse for wear. Gives us a chance to bring in Osorio. But 5-0 here. Convincing. It almost doesn't feel worth doing the second leg. I'm wondering if we come back for a game after the second leg. Or maybe we do the Valor game, although we've already commentated Valor. I thought this was going to be a lot closer than it's ended up being. We have got a bit of a rap, haven't we, for in 2-legged games winning by a big margin the first match. You might go back with your mind to the game last year against Ottawa Fury as a game where it probably should have been a lot closer than it ended up being. Of course, just kind of wading into completely unknown waters in this game, in this competition. Wasn't sure what to expect. But, well, what we've discovered is that we are probably more than up to the level of the Martinique top flight, which you'd kind of hope we would be. But, yeah, Marshall, man of the match. What a performance by him, the number 22. I'm just looking at the games we've got coming up. Do we come back for the Toronto game? We could do that. But then I have the second leg just sat there. You know what? Let's come back for the Toronto game because I feel like at 5-0 up, that game is going to have a great deal of meaning. Also, the Valor game there is 4-1. There might be some more fixture rearranging depending on when the second leg of the North American League happens. And we'll be in a better idea of, I guess, what's going on after the game against Club Francisaine. So, yeah, I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll come back. We'll work things out. I don't know when it's going to be, but don't go anywhere. There will be another match coming. I'm going to try and make it a bigger one for you. Okay, guys, so we are back here for the Canadian Championship quarterfinal first leg against Toronto. Yes, in the end, with that 5-0 win, I just decided we'd play further forward just a little bit. You can see we won our first game of the autumn season against Valor 2-1, which is good news there. And in the follow-up leg against Club Francisaine, we won 3-0. So, yeah, 8-0 on aggregate, pretty convincing. But, well, now we have a real test. And, well, I hope this is going to be a good game for our sakes, because we need to at least go into the second leg against Toronto with some hope. You can see, actually, in the North American League, I thought the bracket had already been drawn. It hadn't. The team that we are going to be taking on is Alajuelense. Is that good? Liga Deportiva Alajuelense. It sounds good in my head. You can tell me how horrifically wrong I am. These are very good. Not a team I would have wanted to get drawn against. Costa Rica, definitely one of the strongest nations. You can just see as I flick through their players here. They're good. It's going to be a really tough 2 legs against them over the next couple of episodes. And I'm kind of kicking myself. I was hoping we'd get an easier draw than this. But you've got to beat every opposition that comes up ahead of you. Esteban is their best player. He's their goalkeeper. If we just look at their squad, you can see in terms of wages, they offer their players a lot more money than we offer by comparison. So, yeah, it's going to be a bit of a battle, and that will be starting next episode with the games against Toronto, the second leg, and the first leg against Alajuelense, I think. But we can worry about that next time. We've got a Canadian Championship quarterfinal first leg to worry about. In terms of the team, it might be controversial, but this is the team I'm going to go with. So we're going to play the Saint Duck alongside Daly. That does mean Sakaria and Tomi Amiobi are going to be on the bench. It's a tricky one, this one, because Tomi and obviously Ajij, players who have been here since the beginning. But I feel like with Duck and Daly improving as much as he has been, I've got to give them the nod in this kind of game. I've got to give us the best chance of winning. And I think if we just compare Daly, for example, to Sakaria, it's quite big, the difference between them all. To be honest, between these 4 strikers, I think we've got 4 very, very good goal scorers. Ajij is the only one who's actually kind of a proven goal scorer out of the lot. So, I don't know. We're giving Daly and Duck a chance today. We'll see how they get on. Behind them, we're going with Telfer Marshall. Joseph Lincourt is going to come in and play the centre mid on support role for us. And then to his right, we are going to go with Zebi, who was very, very good in the league game against Valor. He got an assist in that game since the last match. So he's going to get another shot in the team to show us what he's made of. Obviously, Senior's going to come in and ball win midfielder ahead of, if we just look here, ahead of Marcelin. Marcelin's physicals really are just falling off a cliff. I mean, look at his acceleration was at 14. It's now at 11 and almost 10. It's a sad sign of perhaps the future, but unfortunately he's just not athletic enough, and I feel like against Toronto here we're going to need to be at least outrunning them, or at least trying to outrun them in the midfield to have a chance. At the back, Connor James is going to hold down his position. We're going to go with Moses Soria and Tenguia. I've not really gone off David Edgar that much. It's just a case of Tenguia's been performing really well when we've given him chances. And David Edgar is the player who's perhaps played the worst out of our 3 centre-backs, which is going to sound ridiculously harsh when you then see his average rating of a 7.24. But, I mean, by comparison, you can see here his average rating in all competitions is a 7.16. The rest of our centre-backs all comfortably above a 7.25. Even Marcelin up there with a 7.5 is really impressive. So that's the reason that David Edgar misses out. And, of course, Connor James in goal, nothing too crazy going on there. Got options on the bench as well. Chung, Osorio, Lamotte, Sakaria, and of course Tomi Amiobi. So we can really drastically change the game if we want to. But this is without a doubt the toughest test as manager here. You can see they've got Jose Altidore, of course. Extremely good forward. They've got Michael Bradley, one of the best centre mids in MLS. You look across the whole team, they pretty much outdo us in every position. I might be wrong here. I think Jonathan Osorio is related to our Osorio on the bench. He is. So it could be a brotherly affair if we decide to bring him on. If only he played on the right wing, our Osorio, then they could play against each other on the same wing. But, well, a bit of brotherly love, I guess, going to be on show in today's game, potentially. Anyway, let's get into this. I am now wondering, and it's kind of a bit too late to think this, but I'm now wondering, should I have started with the system with wing-backs? But I don't really want to invite pressure onto us. I want us to try and boss possession. We're at home. If it starts going horrifically wrong, we have the ability to switch to the wing-back system. But they're playing a 4-4-2, which I feel like our system matches up okay against. There's a massive gulf in quality between ourselves and them, which is always going to be evident. We've got to be clinical, try and hit them on the break when we can, and, well, I want to see us try and seize possession of the ball. The fact there's a highlight starting after a minute is slightly concerning as Veron switches it out wide and their fullbacks are on the overlap. Tenguia heads it clear well. Pozuelo gives it to Lul. I don't know. L-L-U-Y. Liu, probably. Liu? Anyway, we're on the counter-attack. Go on, Duck! Daly's in the middle. Daly's in the middle. He can't get there, but it falls back to Duck. Have a go! He scores! The absolute scenes. We've hit them on the break. Give him a knighthood. Make him a saint. He's already a saint. He's the Duck. He's come up trumps. I thought he'd wasted it. The ball in was not that great to Daly. It was cleared away, but he takes it down on his chest, gets one touch, and then just smashes it in. This is not a rotated team for Toronto. Now, we can't get too carried away, but I'm gonna celebrate while we're beating them. Alan Zebi now with a chance. Goes inside to Lincolt Joseph. To Marshall. Can he pull out one of his specialties? Oh my God, he almost did. Marshall, he's quickly becoming my favourite player, our little Jamaican playmaker. He just makes stuff work, and alongside Duck further up, I feel like we've got a future link up there where those two players, I feel like we could build a team around them. Anyway, we've got to deal with this here. Lincolt Joseph gets it away to Zebi, who gets it clear. Zebi's been very involved in the build-up play again. He looked very good in the first leg of our North American League game. He out on the right wing, he was doing the business. Daly now with a chance. He's going to try and outrun Elliott, maybe try and apply some pressure. And well, the ball given to Telford, the former Toronto man. Was he fouled? Apparently not. Moore comes away with the ball now. Toronto now going to look to launch the counter-attack probably. Bradley to Veron. We've got to track our runner here. Moses is doing that. But on the left-hand side, Osorio whips it in and out of doors there. Just didn't pick up our runners. Toronto put us to the sword. Look at the stats. We've had 69% of the ball. And we had a lot more shots than they have. Unfortunately, that doesn't mean anything. They are ahead. They probably deserve to be ahead. Well, they're not ahead, but they're back in it. I don't know if they deserve to be. You guys can let me know, but 1-1. It's not great, but it could be a lot worse. I didn't really know what to expect coming into today's game. It's our first time coming up against MLS opposition. We've got a set piece. We need to make the most of these. The Duck is there. He lays off to Daly, who gets the rebound in. The Duck is involved again. Daly with the lovely finish. I think that might be his first goal for the club. Of course, he got a load whilst out on loan. It's not a bad way to introduce himself at the very least. You can see the Duck nails it down with the header. Well, Daly's second time of asking. A little bit of fortune in the way the ball came back to him, but a good little finish. And right now, the decision to drop Amiobi and Sarkaria, whilst it might not prove to be a kind of particularly popular one, on the pitch, it's working for us. We're 2-1 up. We look very, very good. We've been all over them. Am I allowed to enjoy this? Keep it going, boys. More of the same. Toronto do not know what's hit them here. This is only the quarter-final, of course. The way that we got lucky in the draw last year of the Canadian Championship meant that we had a route to the final without playing an MLS side. And then we came apart against Valor in the semi-final, you might remember. This year, we've been given a tough draw out of the break with this quarter-final. The MLS teams care about this competition as well, because this is their route into the North American Champions League. So they desperately want to win this. This is their only way, and they don't get an American spot from the USA teams based on their MLS position finish. This is the competition they have to win for continental football. And so, yeah, it's always going to be a battle. They're always going to try their hardest. And you can see Altidore here with it out on the right. Whips it in. Free header for Veron. Keeper didn't get a touch on it, I don't think. I want to believe that we had it covered there with Connor James. Part of me's like, do I want to go more conservative? But then part of me remembers the fact that we're playing so well right now. Why would I want to change it? Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring in some fresh legs in the wide area. We're going to bring in Osorio to play against his brother. We're also going to bring in Chung out on the right. To be honest, I can't really fault that many of our players. We played very, very well. It's more so with these changes about just bringing in some fresh legs in the wide areas. Anyway, they've got the ball here. They're going to put it inside to Don Scott, who's just come on. They're whipping the ball out the door. Another free header. And I don't know if Connor James should have done better there. I feel like he probably could have. Out the door with his second goal of the game. Toronto have been better. Oh, it's heartbreaking because we played so well up until this point. I'm going to do a shout. I'm going to demand more from the boys. It's the go-to shout. I want them to look switched on. I want them to look concentrated. I want them to be refocused. You know, yes, they've equalised, but we can still do something in this game. We've got one last change. Marshall is really struggling in the centre, so I'm going to bring in Lamotte for him with our final change. 10 minutes left. 2-2 would not be a bad result to take into the second leg. The board expectation for this competition was to reach this round. And at least going into next episode, we have a chance to keep on going. And I feel like that's all you could really ask for here. A pretty good performance, I feel like, for our first game against an MLS side. We've gone toe-to-toe with them. I feel like when you look at the stats on the whole and then a number of chances, we might feel a little hard done by with how it's finished. Man of the match, I think, is going to go to Duck unless one of their players picks it up, which could happen because it wasn't the highest average rating. Who did get it? It was Altidore, of course it was. He scored 2. Duck played well for us though. He's recovered from that injury he had when he first joined us, and he's looking solid now. Also, really good to see Nick Daly get a goal there. That is his first goal for the club this year, which is really good news. So hopefully he can build off that. In the second half this season, the way that our fixture schedule is looking, rotation is definitely going to be a factor and definitely something we have to do. Next episode, we will have the game against Toronto. I don't know if we'll do the games against Alajuelense, the first leg. I'd kind of like to keep those as a pair, I think. Maybe we'll come back for the game against York 9. We'll see how we're going. We'll see what my mood's like. But we'll definitely be back next time for the game against Toronto. And of course, hopefully, I do see you guys for it. If you have enjoyed today's video, do drop a like on it. 2 pretty good results. We're currently on a club record run for games without a defeat. That draw extends it to 9. Let's see if we can keep it going for a little bit longer next time out, shall we? If I don't bottle it in the meantime, which could happen because we've got Halifax to play, who are pretty good. And they've won their first 2 games. So it's not going to be easy, but we'll take things as they come. I feel like so far this year we're doing pretty well. Let's see if we can keep it going next time out. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys again tomorrow. It is me, Jack, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.